I'd been on the road for 3 weeks, bouncing between meetings, shaking hands, finalizing a deal that would keep my company afloat for the next 5 years. I was dead tired, running on bad airport coffee and granola bars. But all I could think about was getting back home, back to the ranch. Not just any ranch, my family's land, passed down through 3 generations. My grandfather built that place from dirt and sweat after he came home from the Korean War. 45 acres of Texas hill country, wide sky, open fields, and the kind of silence that makes you hear yourself again. So when I turned down that gravel road and saw a bright orange sold sign nailed to my wrought iron gate, I thought I was hallucinating. I hit the brakes so hard, the tires on the rental car squealed. There, right in my driveway, was a moving truck. 2 guys hauling boxes toward the front porch like it was just another Tuesday. And standing there, clipboard in hand, was a woman I'd never seen before, giving orders like she owned the place. I jumped out, heart pounding, fist clenched, but I kept my voice steady. "Excuse me, what the hell do you think you're doing on my property?" She turned around, surprised but not afraid. "Oh, you must be the previous owner. I'm Trisha Dunning. We just closed on the property yesterday. Bought it through an HOA auction. Honestly, it was a steal at $25,000. I swear the world tilted sideways. HOA auction? I wasn't part of any HOA. This land wasn't part of anything but us, our family. My jaw clenched so hard I thought I might chip a tooth. I told her point blank, "This ranch has been in my family for 70 years. There's no HOA here. You've made a huge mistake." Her smile faded. She blinked. But the Maple Ridge HOA said this land was under their jurisdiction. They had all the paperwork, the lien, the notices, everything. And just like that, it all clicked. Karen Langford, president of the Maple Ridge HOA for the past 3 years. Queen of passive aggression. I'd heard about her from folks in the nearby development. Stories about her fining people for parking their own trucks in their own driveways, punishing kids for sidewalk chalk, citing violations for unapproved flower colors. But Maple Ridge was a full mile away from my property line, separated by zoning, jurisdiction, and barbed wire. This land was unincorporated county soil. My grandfather made damn sure of that in the 80s when developers came sniffing around. And now, somehow, she thought she owned it? I remembered a letter I'd received about 6 months back. Came in a stiff, overpriced envelope with embossed ink. "Dear property owner," it began. "Following the recent boundary expansion vote by the Maple Ridge HOA Board, your land at 1297 Hickory Run now falls within our governance. Please find enclosed your retroactive dues invoice in the amount of $3,400. I literally laughed when I read it. Tossed it in the trash. Figured it was either a scam or Karen flexing her HOA muscles on someone who wouldn't push back. I should have taken it seriously. After that first letter came more. Fence violations. Noise complaints. Even one citing my horses for morning vocal disruption, because apparently, neighing before 8 a.m. is now a crime. I didn't respond. Didn't sign for the certified mail. I figured. Let her waste her stamps. I had real work to do. That was my mistake. What I didn't know was that while I was ignoring her, Karen was building a paper trail. She filed fake violation notices with the county, claimed they'd been posted and mailed, had someone forge my signature on certified receipts. Every time I threw one of her letters in the trash, she documented it as failure to comply. She was laying the groundwork to steal my land. The auction that Trisha mentioned, it wasn't real, not in any lawful sense. Karen held it behind closed doors with a handful of HOA board members and her brother-in-law, who, surprise, runs a real estate company called Crane Rock Holdings, LLC. He bought the ranch for $25,000. Trisha and her husband? They paid him cash, thinking they were scoring a foreclosure deal of a lifetime. And now, they were in my driveway, about to unpack their dreams on land that wasn't even hers to sell. I told Trisha, firmly but not unkindly, "Ma'am, I suggest you stop moving anything. I'm calling my attorney and the sheriff right now." Her face changed. She wasn't the villain in this story, just another victim of Karen's lies. She nodded, told the movers to pause, and stepped aside. I called David Brennan, my attorney since my dad passed. 10 minutes later, he was in his truck, hauling toward the ranch. I also called the sheriff's department and explained the situation. I wanted this on record immediately. When David got there, we spent 3 hours untangling the mess. The more we dug, the worse it got. Fake meeting minutes, forged signatures, a notary seal that belonged to someone who'd been dead for 2 years, a lien filed with documents no one in the county clerk's office had ever verified. The HOA's own charter, which we pulled from their website, clearly defined their boundaries. Our ranch sat miles outside them. Karen had no legal claim, but she'd counted on me not fighting back. Or worse, finding out too late. What she didn't count on was David being ruthless. He filed for an emergency injunction with a judge he knew. By nightfall, we had a court order freezing all transactions on the property. Crane Rock Holdings was banned from taking possession. Tricia and her husband agreed to cooperate with the authorities. They just wanted their money back. Over the next 2 weeks, David's team went full Sherlock Holmes. They found out Karen had tried this twice before, with smaller properties just outside Maple Ridge. Both times the deals fell through at the last minute, but she was escalating. My ranch. That was her biggest score yet. Turns out, she was also embezzling money from the HOA, using resident dues to fund her fake expansion project. She believed that by annexing more land, she could grow the HOA's budget, boost her status, and siphon more money through the back door with made-up violations and kickbacks from her brother-in-law's investment group. She created fake email threads, photoshopped notices on people's gates, even used AI to simulate conversations in HOA minutes that never happened. It was beyond corrupt. It was delusional. When the FBI got involved, specifically the White-Collar Crimes Division, they found she'd moved over $400,000 in transactions across state lines through fake accounts. That made it federal wire fraud. She was done. 3 months after I saw that sign on my gate, we went to court. The courtroom was packed. Neighbors, reporters, HOA members who finally realized they'd been paying dues to fund a criminal enterprise. Karen sat there, smug at first, arms crossed. But when the prosecutor started laying out the case, document by document, her face drained. 32 counts of fraud, 18 counts of forgery, conspiracy to commit grand theft, embezzlement. Then came the emails. One from Karen to her brother-in-law that read, "He's too stupid to realize what's happening until it's done." Another said, "We flipped this for $300K easy. He'll cry, but who cares?" I took the stand, said my piece, kept it simple. I never joined the HOA, never received legal notice. My land has never been under their authority. This was theft, nothing more. David presented our evidence. Every signature, every fake record, the dead notary, the boundary maps, the HOA charter, the forged receipts. Karen's defense tried to argue she thought she had the legal right, but it crumbled the minute the prosecutor showed she'd altered those very laws to justify what she'd done. The judge didn't even blink. Guilty on all counts. He voided the sale, ordered Crane Rock Holdings to return the $25,000, ordered Karen to pay $250,000 in restitution for damages and legal costs. But that wasn't the end. She got 8 years in federal prison for wire fraud and conspiracy, another 3 years for embezzlement, served concurrently, and a lifetime ban from ever serving on any HOA board, owning or managing property under community governance, or acting as a fiduciary in any capacity. When the judge read the sentence, Karen finally broke. Face pale, voice cracking, she stammered, "But Your Honor, I was just trying to improve the neighborhood. These rural properties were dragging down our values. I don't deserve prison. I'm a respected member of the community." The judge leaned forward, cold as stone. "Mrs. Langford, you tried to steal land that had been in a family for generations. You forged, you lied, you abused the trust of your neighbors. You're not a community leader, you're a con artist. 8 years is mercy." And just like that, the gavel fell. Karen let out a sound I'll never forget, somewhere between a sob and a scream. As the marshals took her away, she turned to me, eyes full of hatred. "This is your fault," she spat. "If you just paid your dues like everyone else, none of this would have happened." And you know what? She was right, in her own twisted way. If I had backed down, she would have won. So let me ask you something. If someone showed up one day and told you your home, your family's land, now belonged to them because they decided it did, what would you do? Would you fight? Or would you walk away? Let me know in the comments. Because stories like mine, they're more common than you think. And if you've got your own HOA horror story, this is the place to share it. Let's talk.